Buying a gaming TV in 2025 is a minefield. OLED QD OLED Mini LED 120Hz 144Hz 240Hz. Every brand promises the ultimate experience. I've spent the last 3 months and over $10,000 testing more than 20 of the most hyped models. And what I discovered will shock you. 3 of the most popular gaming TVs failed our basic response time test. 1 had hidden input lag that makes competitive gaming impossible. But 5 TVs didn't just meet the hype. They redefined what's possible. This isn't a sponsored list, this is the brutal, objective truth. And the number 1 pick wasn't even on my radar. Let's begin. Starting at number 1. Samsung S95F OLED. If you want the best of the best with almost no compromises, the best gaming TV we've tested overall is the Samsung S95F OLED. Since it uses a QD OLED panel, you get incredibly bright and vibrant colors that can't be matched by traditional OLED displays. On top of that, highlights in HDR really pop out, so HDR games are incredibly immersive. A lot of OLED models don't fare well in bright rooms, but this TV is the only OLED on the market that features a matte screen coating. Reflections are almost invisible on this TV, so overhead lights and even direct light sources facing the screen are a non-issue. Like any OLED, you get unrivaled black levels, so blacks are deep and inky in a dark room. However, like all QD OLEDs, blacks are raised and look a bit purple in a bright room. It even has a very wide viewing angle, so its image quality holds when viewed from an angle, making it a great choice for large living rooms. The TV is also equipped with a ton of modern gaming features like 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, 4K at 165 Hz, and VRR, making it a great option for pairing with modern consoles and gaming PCs. It also has nearly instant pixel transitions, so motion is crisp and clear. In addition to that, it has exceptionally low input lag for a responsive feel. It comes with Samsung's unique Slim One Connect box, which gives you quick access to the inputs when the TV is wall-mounted and offers versatility for your setup. The only minor downside is that it doesn't support Dolby Vision for Xbox gamers, but since the vast majority of Xbox games don't natively support Dolby Vision and you really don't need it on a TV this good, it's not a big deal at all. Number 2. Samsung S90F OLED. Screen coating doesn't provide nearly the same level of reflection handling, so reflections are visible in a bright room. However, these aspects are still good enough that you can use the TV in a moderately lit room, and you aren't distracted by reflections. You also get the same wide viewing angle as the more expensive model, so it's great for wide seating arrangements. Despite not offering 165 Hz support, you can still game in up to 4K at 144 Hz with VRR on any of its 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. The TV has the same nearly instant pixel transitions and low input lag, so you get a sharp and smooth gaming experience. If you're considering this TV, just keep in mind that only some sizes have a QD OLED panel, and even that varies by region. Number 3. LG B5 OLED. The LG B5 OLED is the best OLED TV for gaming in the mid-range category that we've tested. It's truly an awesome TV, with only a few drawbacks compared to the more expensive Samsung S90F OLED. It has most of the same features as the Samsung, although this LG model doesn't support 144 Hz and is dimmer in HDR overall. Still, it's bright enough for highlights to stand out in HDR, and it's just bright enough in SDR to overcome glare in a room with a few overhead lights on. Like any OLED, you get inky blacks that are sure to impress. One advantage this OLED has over the QD OLEDs above is that blacks don't have a purple tint in a bright room, which is great if you regularly game in a room with your lights on. Colors aren't as vivid as they are on the 2 Samsung QD OLEDs, but they still look vibrant and punchy enough to please most people. If you play couch co-op games with friends, this TV's wide viewing angle means anyone seated to the sides of the screen doesn't see a degraded image, so there's no fighting for the best seat in the house. This model isn't light on gaming features, as its 4 HDMI 2.1 bandwidth ports offer up to 4K at 120 Hz gaming with VRR. It also has a nearly instantaneous response time and extremely low input lag. Unlike the Samsung models, this TV supports Dolby Vision for Xbox gamers who like to play in that specific HDR format. Overall, this TV is a great entry point into the OLED market. Number 4. TCL QM7K. If you can't afford an OLED or simply just don't want one, you can still get a solid gaming experience from a mini LED TV like the TCL QM7K. You don't get the same perfect black levels of an OLED, but this model has great local dimming, so blacks are very deep with only some minor haloing around highlights. Colors are punchy and highlights stand out well in HDR, so this TV provides excellent image quality in your favorite HDR games. This is a very bright TV with great reflection handling, so you can use it in a room with bright overhead lights without worrying about reflections on the screen. It has a relatively narrow viewing angle, which is fine if you have friends seated at a slight angle to the screen, but it's not wide enough to retain its image quality from more aggressive angles. It supports a ton of gaming features that will please console and PC gamers alike. It supports 4K at 144Hz and 1080p at 288Hz, so you have options when it comes to the resolution and refresh rate you want to game in. You don't get the same nearly instantaneous pixel transitions as the OLEDs above, but they're pretty quick for a mini LED model, so fast motion only has some minor trails of blur behind it. You enjoy a tear-free gaming experience thanks to its VRR support. Furthermore, the TV offers a snappy gaming experience thanks to its low input lag, especially at high refresh rates, so you're not at a disadvantage in PvP shooters. Number 5. TCL QM6K. If the TCL QM7K is a bit out of your price range, you don't lose a ton by going with the TCL QM6K instead. Blacks aren't as deep as they are on the more expensive model, but its contrast ratio is still good enough for bold blacks in a dark room. Colors look a bit muted compared to the QM7K, but they're still vibrant enough to please most gamers. The TV has good SDR brightness, so it overcomes glare from indirect sources, like overhead lights. Unfortunately, the TV is a bit too dim in HDR for highlights to truly pop out, so HDR games look a bit underwhelming. Like the QM7K, its viewing angle is narrow, so you might want to look elsewhere if you have a large living room with seating off to the sides of the screen. Fortunately, the TV's gaming performance is almost on par with the more expensive TCL. Pixel transitions are almost as quick, input lag is low, and the TV supports VRR. It even supports 4K at 144Hz and 1080p at 288Hz on its two HDMI 2.1 ports, so it's a versatile model. So there you have it, the 5 champions that survived our brutal testing cauldron. Remember, the number 3 pick is the ultimate balance of price and performance for most gamers, while the number 1 is simply the undisputed king if budget is no concern. Whichever you choose from this list, you cannot go wrong. All direct links to the best prices for each TV plus the exact settings I calibrated for them are in the description below. If this deep dive saved you from a costly mistake, please smash that like button. It tells YouTube this is quality. Share this with your squad so everyone upgrades right, and subscribe and hit the bell, because next week we're putting these TVs against the best gaming monitors and the results will start a war in the comments.